All right. We're on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. I like when this stuff, the technology actually works well. So, everyone, this is Stacy, and she rides dirt bikes. I actually ran into her, was it about 3 years ago at the 2016 LAB2V. I was riding with a few other guys, and I kept on coming across a lady riding her dirt bike, and I kept on saying to myself, man, I can't believe this. And then I never actually met you on that ride, just other than seeing you out on the trail and stuff like that, but I thought it was really cool and kick-ass. And then I saw that you just did the ride again and wanted to sit down and have an interview with you. So why don't you tell everyone what your name is, and tell us what your social media affiliates are. I know you have your own page, and plus a ladies page as well.
Yeah, so my name's Stacy, Pikey Lady on Instagram, and then I also run the Dirt Ladies Instagram page, and that just started earlier this year, and it's basically kind of the formalization of all the women that I meet at these different events and rides, and we started using Instagram to kind of get together, plan our rides, invite other women to ride with us, and also to join on other rides with guys as well. So it's been pretty good so far. We've got a good little group going.
The lady community is actually growing pretty well. I know just recently, in the last few months ago, my wife and my kids, we made it out to Gorman, and we went by what was that event called?
Babes in the Dirt.
Yeah, and that was huge. I couldn't.
Yeah,
believe
there
it.
was hundreds and hundreds of women that showed up this year. I think it was the 4th year. And it's awesome to see. And it's a combination of first-time riders, experienced riders. Megs Brapp showed up this year. So it's an awesome spectrum of abilities, and getting more women out on the trail, and also getting guys used to seeing more women out on the trail. Right.
So tell me about your riding background. When did you start riding? How old were you? And what kind of dirt bikes or what kind of off-road vehicles did you start on?
So I didn't actually get on a bike of any kind until I was 24. I borrowed a friend's bike, took it out a few times, busted myself up, but I got kind of hooked. And then my first bike was an XR200, and did a lot of single track riding, and learned in the hard stuff, learned to love it. And it's still my favorite kind of riding. After the XR, I moved up a little to a WR250, and I actually started entering some races. District 37, like the Big 6 series, the Hare Scrambles, a couple of those. And then when I became a mom, I stopped riding for a while. And 2 years ago, I got my first dual sport. It's actually that black KLX 250 in the background. Got my motorcycle license, and wanted to try dual sport riding. So that's the year that I decided to do my first LA Varsity to Vegas. And it was a little rough. The bike was really tall, it was heavy. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anybody out there. But I finished in the end, and I learned a lot from that experience. One of the things I realized was that I need a smaller, lighter bike that's better for the type of riding that I do. And so in 2016, I bought the Free Ride. And ever since I got that bike, I've just been riding at least once or twice a month, as much as I can. And it's been an awesome bike. And I also got the CB500X. I don't know if you can see that over there. It's my little adventure bike.
The black one back there?
Yeah, so I do long moto camping trips on that bike. Last year for my birthday, I took a week off and did a trip through 4 different states and checked out Zion, Grand Canyon, all that kind of stuff, and just packed a tent and slept off the bike, and it was fun.
That's awesome. That's cool. So you started racing Big 6. What year was that?
My first entry, I think, was 2010 or 11.
Okay.
But I only did one race just to try it out. And I didn't actually start doing the whole series until this year.
Really?
Yeah.
And how are you really liking the Big 6 stuff?
I like it. I mean, I love the event itself and the people there. I have a 6-year-old son, and he rides the Pee Wee rides on Sundays. But I'm not really a motocross rider. You know, the track stuff isn't really good for me. So I might try out the Sprint Enduro series next year that's starting up. I've also attempted a couple hard enduros over the last year and a half. Last Dog Standing and the one that the Coyotes put on a year ago.
So how was Last Dog Standing? How did you do on that?
I survived. I completed the first lap, and I started the second lap, and I actually had 2 other women with me too. So it was awesome. I think we might have been the only 3 women out there, but we all finished the first lap and we all started the second, and those steep downhills and the back of Glen Helen just got to me, and I threw in the towel partway through the second lap.
Wow. Okay. So you're definitely not just riding fire roads. You're having some fun on the bike, which is great.
Yeah.
And you're scared to get in some rocky territory and stuff like that. Obviously, if you went through LAB2V. So let's you told us about both your bikes already. This whole LAB2V, how did you get involved in that? What was the circumstances on the first year? Because again, back into 2016 was your first year, right?
Yeah. I think it was just something I'd always heard about as kind of this prestigious event. I like a good challenge. I like seeing, what I can accomplish. And so I just wanted to give it a try. The problem was back then I didn't really have a lot of riding buddies. The few that I had did not want to do the ride with me. Not a lot of fans of sand and stuff like that. So right. I was prepared to do it by myself. Spent some months reading about the ride, learning some things, and actually went on the District 37 forum and found this other guy who was about my riding level, just wanted to take it easy and see if he could finish. Mm-hmm. So that was a week before the ride started. And so I showed up at the start just knowing him. His wife and my mom drove the chase vehicles. But he wound up going over the bars towards the end of day 1 outside of Barstow. And so I had to finish day 2 riding and navigating by myself. And I want to say I was almost the last person, if not the last person, into Vegas. It was pitch black. It was cold. My bike wasn't running well, but I finished.
So you rode the second day by yourself?
Yeah. And last year's LAB2V, I actually rode probably 95% of it by myself as well. Wow. Because the people that I was going to ride with had a bunch of bike issues the morning of. Uh-huh. And so it turned into, well, I'll get on the road. I'll meet you guys at the next checkpoint. And then it just turned into a solo ride.
Wow.
Basically. So,
I mean, when I saw you in 2016, I was amazed and blown away that you were just trucking along at your own pace and just, I passed you a couple times, and we were
Everybody did.
But the funny thing is that when I say I passed you a couple times, we're going on a point-to-point ride, and that was the funny part is because here you go, you're just cruising at your speed, and we kept on having problems, and that kept on pushing us back, and it was just crazy that you just kept on going, and you were just doing it just on your own pace and just conquering it. That's awesome.
And that's kind of how I do all my riding. Anybody who's ridden with me knows that I'm kind of the caboose. I'm the slow and steady rider. I'll get through whatever, and I'll finish the ride or the event. I'm not going to get there first, and you might have to wait a little bit for me, but I'll get there.
Wow. So it looks like I've got someone telling me that I've got an echo on Facebook. How's Instagram sounding to you guys? Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how we can get, I don't know if it's on your side or on my side.
I've got the headphones in on Instagram.
Yeah, and I do too as well. And I've got the volume turned down on the one phone. On Facebook, how bad is the echo, guys? She's got earbuds on. Still echo. Bad on IG. Is there sound coming out of your
Out of the
Facebook?
Facebook phone. Yeah, I can't. I have the volume all the way down, but it still comes out.
Let's do this. How about, let me see if I got something to block my, you got a piece of tape handy?
Yep.
You do? Why don't you cover up the speaker on the phone, and let me get a piece of tape on my side. We're going to fix this, guys.
See how that works?
Wonder if that's helping at all.
Oh, Avila, I think I covered up my microphone too.
Okay, hopefully that helps out. I know we
Any
can
better?
still get a little bit of sound, but maybe that cut it down just enough to make it not so annoying. Facebook, how's that sounding? I got one person saying that they hear it when I'm talking, so I think it's more on my side. And yes,
Better.
I've got a laptop that I'm also working with, just so I can see the different comments and stuff like that better. I've got people saying it's better, so let's go with that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to this this ride. So the first day, tell me about how you guys started. What did you stay there the night before? Did you go up the morning? Oh, where were you out of, by the way?
Yeah, I'm actually 15 minutes from the start. So the girls came up to my house Thanksgiving evening. They brought their leftovers, and we had this makeshift Thanksgiving dinner at my house. They crashed here, and then about 4 a.m. we woke up and got everything loaded up and headed to the start. And I think we got there just after 5:30, and there was already, hundreds of people in line ready to go.
Nice. So, and how many people did you ride with? I think it was 2 others.
So we started out with a total of 4 girls. Myself, Christina, Erica, and Casey. And all 3 of the ladies had never done this ride before. I did some trail riding with Christina, and she introduced me to Erica and Casey. And they're all very good riders, and they were just as determined as I am to finish a ride like this. So we decided to take it on together this time. And I was the only one who had some GPS navigation experience, so I was leading the ride out of Palmdale and for most of the way to Vegas.
And for the most part, you've done all this section from the last year's previous.
Yeah, the part that I did this year that I hadn't done before was Last Chance Canyon. Mm-hmm. All the girls were up for doing the hard routes, but as the ride went on, things came up, things happened, and we didn't get to do everything we wanted to do. But a couple of us did Last Chance Canyon, and after Last Chance, Casey had a bike issue. Her carburetor had an issue. She couldn't get it started. We had some friends on the trail help us out, get her bike back to the road so she could get picked up and figure it out in Barstow. And then the 3 of us kept going, and we took easy routes the rest of the way into Barstow.
Got it. So let's back up. What have you done to your bike to prepare for this ride?
So I rode the free ride in LAB2V last year, mm-hmm. and I didn't do much to it. I ran extra heavy duty tubes back then. The one thing that I tried out last year for the first time was the giant loop gas bag. And Luke from Wolf actually let me borrow his so I could try it out. And it turned out to be a lifesaver. I had my my fuel exploded on the trail outside of Red Rock last year. Mm-hmm. And that was a whole issue. And I had the gas bag full with a gallon of gas and was able to let me keep going, because this bike only has a 1.8 gallon tank and there's no aftermarket options on it. Mm-hmm. So this year I got my own giant loop gas bag. I have the giant loop Mojave saddlebags on there, bunch of ram mounts for everything I put on the handlebars, my GPS. This year I also went with tubeless. I never ran it before. LAB2V was the first ride I used it on. And I actually didn't use it the way I could have. Like, I didn't try to air down in the rocks or anything. And I just rode with it. And I didn't have any bike issues this year. I didn't have any crashes this year. So everything was pretty solid. The other upgrade I did that I was very pleased with was the seat concept seat. That was a huge difference from riding on the stock 2x4 that was on there before. It was awesome.
What were you carrying inside your bags?
I had my toolkit, which has a little bit of everything, a small first aid kit, snacks. I have the anti-gravity XP10 charger because this bike doesn't have a Kickstarter. So had that just in case, and a little mini air compressor that goes with that. And just a bunch of water, and that's pretty much it.
Cool. So you guys didn't have to use any tools or anything like that on any of your guys' bikes throughout the whole ride?
No. We didn't have to do any trail fixes, really. One of the girls on the ride, Christina, her boyfriend, was one of the chase vehicle drivers, and he's a pretty good mechanic. And Christina actually had a kind of a gnarly little crash between Yermo and Baker on day 2. And she wound up being okay, and she was able to completely finish the ride and everything. But I think it might have messed up her front tire a little bit. So we had a couple fixes at the pit stops and at the gas stations and stuff like that. And her boyfriend was able to help with that. But luckily we didn't have to do anything on the trails.
Cool. So what time did you guys get to your lunch stop?
So for Johannesburg, actually, I don't remember what time it was. When we got in there, we lost quite a bit of time trying to figure out Casey's bike. And that was right before that downhill. So Casey went off and hit the road. And then Christina and I went forward to that gnarly little downhill section. And after that, we made it into Johannesburg pretty good.
Sweet. And then did you guys come across any other groups or anything like that you guys knew? Any other ladies or any other guy groups?
Yeah, actually at the start when we were waiting to pick up our registration, I kind of walked through the line and checked to see if there were any other women riders, and I did see a handful, passed out some Dirt Lady stickers. And then we saw a few of them on the trail. One girl had come all the way from Oregon to do the ride, and wow, she had a mechanical that prevented her from finishing as well. And then there were a couple other women that I recognized from previous rides as well. So
awesome. So did you guys come across any other problems other than the one issue with the other rider?
No, we came across on that downhill. We had we came up at the top, and actually there was somebody else that was kind of having some problems. So right at the top and looking down, there was an old like XL 600 on its side partway down the hill, and the guy was, I don't know if his leg was under it or couldn't just lift it, and he was kind of in the path. Nobody was really helping him. They're just waiting for him to move. So I got off my bike and I walked down the hill to help him try to lift his bike. So I get there and we both go to lift it up, and it just starts picking up speed and rolling down the hill. And I was like, "You're supposed to grab the front brake." And he's like, "It doesn't have one." So he had this huge, heavy bike with no front brake, and he's attempting to go down this steep, loose hill. So he kept trying to pick it up, and it would just drop. And so we wound up pushing it on its side, like pushing and dragging it over into the rut on the left side of the hill. And told him to just, use the rut kind of for traction, stand up the bike, put it in gear, and use the clutch as a brake to walk it down. So he wound up doing that. He he was really glad that someone actually helped him because he was struggling a little bit. But he started walking down the hill, and then I turned around and realized I had to go back up to my bike. So walking up that hill into full gear, I was a little winded. I was a little psyched out with how steep and loose the hill was. So I get back up to the top, and Christina was behind me, and she just tackled it. She went down the hill with no problems. And I get back on my bike, and I was all nerves. I couldn't do it. So I wound up walking my bike down too. And right as I'm walking my bike down, here comes the LAB2V drone, like right in my face, just capturing the suffering right in front of me. So I gave him a little California howdy, and then he put it up at the writer's banquet later for everyone to see. So that was fun.
So you walked it down this year, but in the past years, have you rode down it?
Yeah, well, I walked it halfway down and kind of regrouped, got back on, coasted into like the plateau, and then there's a second hill, and then I rode down that one as well. So I think we took a similar route in 2016, and I was on that big heavy bike. I think I rode down it that year, but I was just as scared. I might have like kind of slid down and landed on my side halfway down, but I didn't even want to attempt it this year. I wasn't having it.
Right. No, I mean it's a steep hill. It's loose, and especially when you're trying to like go down it, and there's all those other riders having difficulty, and you're seeing that. I mean, it gets to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I definitely wore myself out a little picking up that bike. I needed to kind of regroup. And once I got to the bottom, I reset myself a little and felt better.
Cool. So, I got a couple people still saying that we got some echoing. I'm going to, and I say it's happening when I'm talking. I think I'm going to grab something real quick. I'm going to grab another earbud set and plug it into the other phone so I can cut the noise out on that one and see if that'll work. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to grab that, and I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, the guy with the burn. I remember you guys. That's awesome on Instagram. That was cool. Yeah, so last year, between Yermo and Baker, I stopped to take some pictures at the top of this hill where you can oversee kind of the power line road before you get into Baker. And just taking some pictures, and this group of guys come up, and one of them just had his gear all ripped open around his leg. I guess he had crashed and burned himself pretty bad. And I actually had some burn cream and some bandages and stuff in my first aid kit. And pretty sure I got some snacks in return for that, so that was awesome.
Echoing problem. Still not working?
Oh, that's awesome. You guys finished. That's so cool.
Let's see.
I had someone help me out later that day as well. So everybody helps everybody on these rides. That's the cool thing. If someone's hurt or crashed, people don't hesitate to pull over and help each other out.
All right, so I plug in another set of earbuds. So how's that sounding now on Facebook? If anyone wants to tell me what they think about it, but on Instagram, I think that's probably pretty good. Worse. Oh, for real? Volume's all the way down, guys. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I'm not exactly sure why, but the volume is all the way down on Facebook, and I am
Yeah, I think people are giving up on Facebook.
Yeah, I know. That's just how so we're going to keep on going, and we're just going to hammer through it, and it is what it is. So, Mad Jack laughing over here. All right, so let's get back to your ride. So you went down the downhill part. They came in with a drone. They got some footage of you, but you were like, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we made it to the lunch stop, and when I had read the rider's instructions before the ride and it said that there was going to be a single food truck for everybody, I made sure that we packed our own lunch, and I knew there was going to be a line. So we had our own lunch, quick gas stop. The thing with riding a two-stroke, we had to pack a lot of gas, pack a lot of premix just in case. And so every chance we could get gas, we were stopping filling up, because Christina was riding a free ride as well. She has the same bike as me. So we had two strokes and two four-strokes.
So they pack gas. Were you guys packing gas on the bikes with you, or?
So yeah, I had my giant loop gas bag, the 1 gallon one.
Mm-hmm.
It fits, one of the loops goes around right above my brake light, and then I just use rock straps and cinch it down kind of to the subframe and around the tail, and it held great. So I only needed to use it one time, and the rest of the time we just coordinated with the chase crew to get gas, because I think there was one stop that was like 100 miles with no gas.
Wow. So with your chase vehicle, did they see you anywhere on the ride and providing you?
Yeah, so I had my mom in the Moto minivan. Christina's boyfriend was in their truck, and then Casey's friend was in another truck. And my mom was familiar with some of the places before, and Christina's boyfriend had ridden back in 2016 as well. So he was familiar with that we were going to be taking a similar route again, and so he knew a couple of the places to stop. And of course, they give you maps. They give maps for the chase crews and show them where the riders are going to be riding compared to where the roads and stuff are. So, plus I had a spot tracker with me, and they have the apps on their phone, so they could see where we are every few minutes and see where we're at.
Sweet. So on the last day coming into Barstow, how late did you guys get into the hotel area?
We were right around 4 o'clock. There was only a couple rows of bikes in the Boy Scout parking when we got in.
Really?
Yeah. And as soon as we got in, we got all the stuff for day 2, the new roll chart, the new GPS tracks and all that. And I was so tired, and I knew that if I didn't do my bike prep right then, it wasn't going to happen. So I had to top off the gas tank, refill the gas bag, clean and lube the chain, check the oil, tire pressure, swapped out my air filters, refilled my Camelback, loaded the new roll chart. I checked out the GPS tracks for the next day so I could kind of get a feel for what the group was going to be doing. And then I also had to do all the pre-mixing for the next day. So my mom, she's, I'm not going to have her mix gas and stuff. So had to go to the gas station, fill up the jugs, do all the pre-mix and all that, and have it ready. So it probably took about like an hour or so of prep once we got back. Then I got to shower and eat and all that stuff.
How bad was the air filters? Was there were you guys in a lot of dust? I know it's past year.
It wasn't too bad actually, because the wind was pretty strong on Friday. So that kept the dust from hanging, and it kind of blew it off the trail, which was awesome. I think day 2 was a little more dusty for us than day 1.
Really? So on the day 1 trip, was there any like certain section that you just had a lot of fun, or just there was like some just awesome views, or tell me something that you enjoyed on the on the Friday, the first day ride?
Last Chance Canyon was awesome. Yeah. I love rocks. I love the challenge. I like seeing if I can get around and pass people in those kind of sections, and it was fun to have Christina there, like behind me as well, and it was just pretty cool to be able to navigate through that, because I had never ridden that section before. So that was probably the highlight of day 1 for me.
So how was did you guys just like have dinner right there at the hotel, or did you guys go somewhere else?
Every year so far, I go to that firehouse place across the street from the Ramada, the Italian restaurant.
Yep.
Do some carb loading, had a couple beers, and then just went back to the hotel and passed out.
Right. So the next morning, what time was it in the morning that you guys got up and got started?
Well, our goal was to be in line by 6. It was a little closer to 6:30. I think the fatigue kind of sets in a little when you wake up, and so I think by around 6:30 we were all regrouped and ready to start out. Originally, we had said that we all wanted to do Calico. I really wanted to do it, but it just didn't seem right. Nobody was full of energy. We were kind of recovering from day one, so the biggest objective is to just finish. And second, we really wanted to do Red Rock. So we made the decision to just, as a group, take the easy routes from Barstow to Red Rock so we could be able to do that before the sun went down. So.
And you guys did get to Red Rock.
Yes. So we had a really good pace. Like I said, before Yermo, or between Yermo and Baker's, where one of the girls had her crash. We didn't lose a lot of time, but we lost more time later in Sandy Valley when she was getting her tire fixed. But it wasn't that long either. So we made pretty good time into Baker on day 2. Took a little bit longer of a break in Baker, and then set out to get to Sandy Valley, because it's only like 50 miles from from Baker to Sandy Valley. And then on to Red Rock.
Right. So did you guys, other than the crash, and she was okay, she didn't get hurt bad or anything like that, there was no other issues leading into Red Rock?
No. One of the other girls had a little ankle. I think she went down in some rocks, and her ankle was bugging her a little bit. But you wouldn't know it by the way she was riding. Those girls were, I think the Erica, she's like the female roner. She was just hauling ass. She would get out in front of us through those long open whoop sections. I would slow way down in, and she was just out of sight. She was a really good rider. So yeah, in Sandy Valley, we got Christina's tire fixed, and everybody was still feeling okay. So we decided to go ahead and take on Red Rock Canyon.
And how did that go?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Everybody got through it. When we left Sandy Valley, we actually had 2 other guy friends come with us as well. So I guess I had 4 people behind me, and the little flowy single track to get into Red Rock, right before the big sand wash, or rock wash, really. There's that big wash that kind of opens up with a bunch of rocks and boulders and gravel underneath. There's a couple small step-ups and just a lot of fun obstacles. It's really tight in some spots, and then it opens up in others. And that's the kind of terrain that this bike was built for. And so it was just really fun after all that open, fast stuff, which is not my typical riding style, to get into the tight technical riding. And I was so excited. The fatigue kind of went away, and I was just having tons of fun riding through that stuff.
That's awesome. Right where you're talking about, where it starts to like the sand wash and everything, that's where we made it in 2016. And unfortunately, we didn't continue on. It was way dark. We were way behind. And the sweep riders basically asked us not to do it just because, for whatever reason. I mean, we felt we could do it, but we didn't want to do that. Had them coming out looking for us because of whatever reason. So we ended up not doing it. Sucks because everyone says that's probably like the best part of the whole ride, and we were that close and touched it, but.
So when we got after the wash, you get a few seconds of pavement, and then you hit this 2-track that winds up into like Rocky Gap Road, and it comes out kind of in this summit. And right at the summit is kind of, for me, it's the grand finale, the Red Rock section that everyone talks about. So I was excited. I had done it last year with no issues, but I show up right at the beginning of the section this year, and there's just a bunch of trucks, a bunch of 4x4s. Some were coming at us 2 of them were going away from us, but they were kind of blocking all the doable lines for me. There was a couple of people trying to go around the trucks, and they were having a hard time. One of the guys in our group, Ichi, he got off his bike and was helping some of the riders get around the trucks. And finally, one of the guys towed the other guy out of the way so we could start riding and, you know, have a clean line to get over the first kind of rock face that's there. And then once you get up that first rock face, it goes along the edge and then it drops down into kind of a small rock garden. There's some boulders, there's some little rocks, and then there was even more trucks. So all the trucks were kind of taking up the higher easy line on the left side that's a little more smooth. And so we had to just deal with the rocks. And I mean, that's why we're there anyway. So
yeah, that, you know, it's great that we share all those kind of different, you know, tracks with all these other truck guys and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it becomes sometimes a pain when we're both trying to utilize the trail at the same time. But if they moved out of the way and allowed you guys to go through and, you know, try to make the best of it, then that's good.
Yeah, they stop and wait. And even on some of the fast dirt sections before we got to Red Rock, there's quite a few sections where you have two-way traffic, including side-by-sides, vehicles, trucks, all kinds of things. And for the most part, people are courteous. I mean, it is a holiday weekend. Everybody's out there riding, so you kind of have to keep your head up and watch where you're going. But for the most part, everyone's pretty courteous and helping each other out.
Right. That's good. That's good. So once you guys got through all that section, you guys got back on it was pretty much the highway at that point, right?
Yeah, so after that really technical section, you kind of descend back down into Red Rock Park. And even that's not a simple fire road. There's some spots that have more little rock sections and off-camber spots. And when you're really fatigued, it can still bite you if you're not careful. But we made it through that just nice and easy and slow. And then you drop down into Red Rock and you just got these huge rock faces all around you, and it's gorgeous. And you can kind of see Vegas skyline out ahead, and it's the best feeling in the world to hit the pavement after you go through that ride and after you go through Red Rock.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to go back and do that ride just for that section, or just go out and hit that section just because everyone tells me that's pretty much what we missed. It sucks, but that's yeah. So once you guys, how much further was it to the highway?
Once we hit the pavement at Red Rock, I want to say it's like 20 or 30 miles tops, not too much farther. We got on the road for a little, actually we just followed the easy route from that point, and you actually hop on the freeway for a few miles. And then we got off on like Flamingo and just headed into Vegas and towards the casino, the finish line.
Around what time was this when you guys hit the highway?
It was between 4 and 4:30. We got in to the finish right before 4:30. Mm-hmm. So the shadows were definitely starting to form in Red Rock. It was getting a little chilly. And then going at the higher speeds on the pavement, it definitely got a little cold. But yeah, we definitely made it in before dark, which was the goal of the whole ride. So that was good.
That's awesome. So did you guys have any headlights or anything, like upgraded headlights or anything on your bikes?
So I think Erica had an upgraded headlight. I don't remember which one. And then Christina and I packed helmet lights. Mm-hmm. And then my setup has like extra lights, extra batteries. So if someone else needed them, we could share them. So I had that packed in my saddlebags just in case. Because 2016, I finished in the dark both days with just the stock KLX headlight, and it was rough. So
yeah. No, it gets dark out there fast.
Yeah, and cold.
Yes. Yeah. So you guys rolling into down Flamingo, finally feeling all just great that you guys have accomplished everything.
Yeah.
And rolled in, and you guys got your picture. I saw that all three of you guys took your picture with the showgirls, and did you guys do Santa also?
Santa wasn't around. I was kind of disappointed. But last year, one of the cool things, I got my picture with Santa, and last year my son was with me for Thanksgiving weekend, So last year I had my son there at the finish. I put him on my bike and we had Santa there and got a little group photo. And then that actually was used in the Women of Go Moto calendar for the month of December for this year. So last year I got my Santa picture. This year was just a bunch of girls.
Yeah. So you guys went back up, cleaned up, ditched the bikes, and got ready for dinner.
Yeah, we had the banquet that night. So the riders banquet starts about 7:00. So it's cool. They have full security in the parking garage at the casino.
Yeah.
So when everyone's done, they can leave their bikes with their vehicles and not have to worry. And they can, go to the hotel room, clean up, and then get ready for the riders banquet, which is a really cool thing. They have tons of giveaways, pictures, media from the event, meet some of the other riders, catch up with people that you passed on the trail and all that stuff.
Did you meet anyone new that you hadn't met before?
Yeah, I met a couple people. I'm bad with names. But yeah, I met a few people on the trail, and then that next night, because I actually stayed in Vegas until Monday. So Sunday night they had a LAB2V bowling event, and I hadn't gone to it before, but this year I went, and I was kind of in one of the lanes towards the end, and it seemed like it was a lot of the sweep guys, so the sweep riders, 4x4 sweep crew. And it was really cool kind of getting a perspective on what they do and how much work they put into the ride. Super grateful to have those guys out there. That's a big part of why I decided to do this ride in the first place, was having that safety net there, Rescue 3, volunteers, 4x4 sweep. I met this woman, Abigail Williams, and her husband. It was, I think, their second year doing the 4x4 sweep. So they're just in their own truck out there, out till midnight, 2 a.m., picking up bikes, picking up people, helping people get to Rescue 3, broken arms, broken collarbones, all the things that can happen with, 500 plus riders.
Yeah.
And they've got our back. So it was really cool to meet with those guys.
Yeah, I was watching, or I looked on the Rescue 3 profile earlier, and I saw that they had some pictures from a couple of little, incidents that they had, and they had to flight some people out. And
yeah,
it's a dangerous sport, no doubt, but
yeah.
It's great to have those people there.
Yeah, it's that I would not have signed up in 2016 if that network of volunteers and dedicated people wasn't there, for sure.
Right. So let me give you a chance to just give some shout outs to some of the people that help you out with your bike and any of your, associated program with your racing and stuff like that. Is there anyone that you want to thank that's helped you out over the years with your bike prep, your bike product, or any of your upgrades and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, my mom and my son, they're super supportive and helping me in any way they can when I do these kind of events. And it's, I wouldn't be able to do it without them being on board as well. This year, my fellow riders, the Dirt Ladies crew, Erica, Christina, Casey, for joining me this year, for taking a chance and letting me try to navigate you through the desert. I had a couple of friends of mine, Ruben and Holly. They're kind of my pit crew at every Big Six race, and Ruben put hours into my bike this year, getting it ready for this race, this ride, giving me a huge peace of mind that I didn't have to worry about anything. So huge shout out to them. And then I got the tubeless installed this time. I took that over to Moto Tech here in Lancaster. Did a great job hooking up the bike there too. And then Seat Concepts for helping out with the seat made a huge difference. And just all the people that kind of help along the trail, anybody that I ran into or they ran into me, and help each other out. That's a reason I ride, is the people that are involved with these events.
Great. And then, so I know you're racing Big Six series. Let's give some props to, I think you had told me, what's your standings right now with the Big Six series?
I think I'm maybe second in points. I'm doing the West Coast GP, the novice class for women's. I think I'm second. I've I'm not very fast, so it's just a matter of showing up to every race, doing what I can, and I'll be out there next weekend in Havasu to finish out the series as well.
That's cool. That's awesome. And then did you say you were racing in a different series as well, other than Big Six, or just Big Six right now?
Just Big Six this year. I did the Last Dog Standing event. That was kind of a one-off, and then I might try the Sprint Enduro series next year.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big one for a lot of people. A lot of people have been talking about it, and I think that's where a lot of people want to focus for next year. But Big Six is also changing into their new series, and I think that's going to be great as well. They've added, I think, 2 or 3 more events to it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bigger series, so that's awesome. So it's great.
Yeah.
And you say your son races in some of the Big Six stuff too as well.
Yeah, he just does the Pee Wee ride. He's right in that in-between phase right now of he's not really on the Pee Wee bikes anymore, but not quite ready for racing. But he loves it, and so he'll be out there probably next year too.
Awesome. So is there anyone else that you just want to give some appreciation and thanks to? That's anyone else that you haven't mentioned already?
I definitely think I want to give a shout out to the Goggle Packer crew, Tom and those guys. They're such a huge supporter of what the Dirt Ladies is all about. They've put on rides for us. They've they get their buddies involved when we're doing events and stuff like that. I'd say Babes in the Dirt for bringing kind of all these women together and giving us more and more resources to kind of not be so scared to start something like this. It can be really intimidating. It's a male-dominated place to be, but it's just becoming more and more easy to get involved with stuff like this. And to you, too, for putting this together and kind of helping promote the idea of getting all kinds of different riders out on the trails and stuff. It's awesome.
Well, awesome. I appreciate it as well. And it's great that you're out there doing this, and obviously with all the other ladies that are involved as well. Like I said, I went to the one event, and it was so packed. I couldn't believe it. I totally was blown away and when we showed up, I told my wife, yeah, it should be a pretty cool event or whatever. And we showed up there, and it was just insane how large it was.
Yeah. And for that was kind of the first event that the Dirt Ladies showed up to as a group. And I have extra bikes. I have tons of extra gear. So one of the things I like to do, and the other Dirt Ladies do as well, is we kind of bring all that stuff together. I let people ride my bikes. I let people borrow gear to see if it's something they're interested in, kind of help them find if it's their passion or not. So if there's any women who are interested in riding dirt or want to have questions about gear or anything like that, myself and the Dirt Ladies group is definitely a resource for you guys.
So tell everyone again, what's your personal Instagram and Instagram is your personal page or your profile, and then what's the other page that you also run as well, so everyone knows?
So my personal Instagram is Pikey Lady, and the Dirt Ladies Instagram is the group page, and that's dirt_ladies on Instagram.
I'll put all that information in the description on the playback as well, so everyone can go along and follow you and get to see what you're doing and maybe connect with you and find out about some rides if it's a lady or if any of the guys want to get their wives involved or any of that stuff. It's always a great thing. So I'll put that down in the description on the playback on YouTube and on Facebook and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about the free ride as well. It's kind of a unique little bike, and it's definitely a more favorable bike for female riders too. So I've been known to let people test ride it on occasion. But yeah, any questions about gear or bikes or riding or anything like that, we're available. Cool.
So to bring this to an end, I have questions that I ask everyone to see just what kind of type of rider and what they prefer. You've already told us about my one main question, if you're tubeless or moose, and you said tubeless. Next one, your GPS preference. Are you a Garmin, an iPhone, Trail Tech? What is it that you prefer to use?
So I went to the Garmin just because I've had issues with the before I was using my personal phone and the dust and the vibration of the camera. And I know a lot of guys get old phones on eBay or something and load the GPS, and that's a really, good idea. But I wound up just going to the Garmin, having a dedicated unit. It's just has one purpose, and it's just easier that way. So I go with the Garmin Montana.
Montana. Cool. Oh, that's awesome. And then your packing situation, are you vest, backpack? How do you usually pack?
If it's a long ride or I'm going to be out all day, I go with the saddlebags. I don't like the weight on my back as much, but I always have a Camelback full of water. I usually take my 3-liter Camelback, and but if it's a short ride or even a race, sometimes I'll just throw on the backpack with Camelback. But all the tools and stuff like that goes in saddlebags for me.
Cool. Out of all your time of riding, what's the most epic place that you've ever rode before?
I had an awesome experience earlier this year with the TNS Promotions group, put together a ride with Kyle Redmond down in Tecate, Mexico. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. Part of it was the people, and then the terrain was awesome. The rocks, the single track, just the whole weekend was great. For local spots, for probably single track, I like hitting up Bean Canyon or the Paiutes.
Nice. That's some great places right there.
Yeah.
All 3 of them are great places. Ducati and obviously the local stuff as well. And then really the last question is if you had a chance to ride anywhere, what would be your number one spot that you would want to go and try to conquer?
I keep hearing about Colorado. I used to go there all the time for work, and I regret never renting a dual sport or anything while I was out there. But single track in Colorado would be amazing. I'd also love to do some kind of adventure ride, like in Europe or something kind of crazy. My friend Tiffany Burkett, she's the globe-trotting moto gypsy. She's inspired me to kind of see places outside of the country, and I've done a ride with her in Mexico as well. And I think that would definitely be on the bucket list, is to go somewhere overseas and ride around.
So the only place in Mexico that you've rode is Ducati?
I rode my dirt bike in Tecate, and then I did a dual sport ride. We crossed the border in Tecate, went down to Ensenada and back.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's some great, just the places that you get to see down there is just awesome. So yeah, that's good stuff. Well, I really appreciate you coming on here and discussing LAB2V. Out of like a scale to 1 to 10, where do you put this LAB2V?
It's like a 15. There's so many parts of it. It's like it's just such an accomplishment to do it, to finish, to, even my mom driving the chase vehicle, she loves it. She loves the energy about the ride. From 15 to 85 men, women, every kind of rider, every kind of bike. It's just one of the most unique, cool rides that we have, and it's right in my backyard. So I absolutely love it. And a goal of mine would be one day to ride it with my son. So he's only 6 right now, but if he and I could do it together one day, that would be awesome.
Another ride that you might want to put on your bucket list?
What's that?
Is the Big Bear Trail Riders event.
Yes, I've thought about doing it the last couple of years, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. Maybe next year I need to give that one a try. I've heard it's pretty gnarly, or it can be pretty gnarly.
Depending on which route you go with, definitely a hard route, but they also have the easy route, which is, to be honest with you, when they call it easy, it's still a journey, and it's a long day.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of guys that it's an adventure, but that's a good one that you should put on your list too as well. At least go out and try it. It sounds like you like to get in some pretty gnarly stuff, so that's awesome. Even if you decided to do it and start the hard route and just try to go as far as you can at the pace that you can, if you miss a checkpoint, so be it. But I think it would be an awesome thing for you to try.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. I think 2019 might be the year I finally give it a try.
Awesome. Well, then I'll see you at that event. But no, really, thank you for coming on and sharing your experience. You know, everything that you're doing great. You know, supporting all the ladies out there and all the events and doing all these races and stuff. So I praise you for all that good stuff. And I thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me and for supporting us as well.
Awesome. Well, you guys, if you guys want to check her out, check out her Instagram. I'll have all the information down below. You'll see all the posts with the direct link. Yeah, Stacy's out there riding these bikes that guys are doing too as well. So it's kick-ass for her, and I give her a big thumbs up and support her.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone made comments, and the WLF guys, if you caught my post, they're watching, and they're going to be giving away a T-shirt for someone through this live stream that's commented, and then they're also going to be watching our next live stream that's at 8:30 with the Adventure Club, and they're going to be picking someone out too as well and giving away a free T-shirt to someone that's following and making the comment and stuff like that. But Stacy, thank you for your time tonight, and we'll definitely have you on again after the next adventure that you do.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.